Okay guys, I'm back. Wanted to provide an updated review of the Velocifero. It's a Velocifero Mad 48 volt 1600 watt electric scooter. I've had for approximately 1 year now. We've taken it on several trips. I guess you say hiking, some on paved surfaces, some on gravel, dirt, mud, sand, just about everything we've taken it through. It's done very well throughout that entire time. The wheels, the fat wheels, really help through the sand or mud areas. You do notice a little bit of a drag when you get into sand, but that's to be expected. I think anybody who's been taking a bike through sand will know that. We really like this. We've taken on a lot of trips. It has a rear brake light. Let me see if I can turn that on here in a minute. But it's again, it's a 48 volt, 12 amp, 1600 watts. The handlebars are adjustable. You can see that. The knob here to adjust them. You can just twist it and pull them up or push them down. You can also fold the handlebars away on each side. I'm doing this with the camera in my hand, so I apologize. So they do fold down. Let's do this other one here. Actually, I can do it with one hand, so that's not bad. So you can fold that down. You can also fold the entire handlebar unit down so it lays from right here. Pull this up, the entire handlebar comes down, and you can lay it flat on here. And to do that, you'll remove the seat. This whole seat will remove the bar holding it and the seat itself into two parts. And you can also raise the seat up or lower it. It comes with these two bags. Here's a bag here on the back. They're actually pretty large, somewhat waterproof, water resistant, whatever you want to call it, but bags are actually pretty nice. Headlights, comes with two headlights, and you can see the shock in the front for the front wheel. Comes with a shock. You can see that the construction is heavy duty. The steel, it's very strong. And the aluminum, cast aluminum or steel, I'm not sure what that is, but they're nice construction. There's a shock, two shocks in the back, one on each side. Here's one here, one on the other side. Chain driven. There's the 1600 watt 48 volt 12 amp motor. You have disc brakes on the back, disc brakes on the front. You can see there. Again, the fat tires. It comes with a horn. That's what the horn sounds like. Here's what the lights look like. These actually have like a blue ring around them. Safety reflectors on the side of the front wheel. Additionally, have a brake light on the back. You see that operating no matter if you hit the front or back brakes. Acceleration is just twisting the handle here, right here, this, and that will accelerate. Key for on and off for the ignition. The lights telling you you can't see, yeah, maybe you can see that maximum, mid, and minimum battery life. So it doesn't tell you the actual amount of energy left, but it gives you a very good indication. I can't remember the total miles that we've gone on this out of single charge. I haven't emptied it yet, but I've gone over approximately 13 miles without it draining all the way. Made it all the way home, so luckily I didn't have to try to find power anywhere. It's got a bamboo stepping board. Had decals on it, but again, this is a year old, so they're starting to wear off. I wouldn't say that in some places it wasn't put on there perfectly. It was bubbled underneath some parts, so that's probably why it came off. It has a mudguard in the back, which you definitely want. And this little thing here is something I attached myself later. I got paint on my hands. I just kind of jerry-rigged that, and that's so it would hold this cart that we pull behind it. So we go several miles on it. I have this cart attached to it. We either have, you know, fishing gear, kids, the kids' bikes, 2 kids at maximum in it at one time we have in there, and you know, some of the gear, picnic stuff, whatever. So I pull that around quite a bit. No problem going up hills. Obviously it's more difficult with the cart on if you're going on rough terrain. It goes over rough terrain very nicely. And that's the mud guard. If you don't have it on there, you're going to get caked, or at least the back of your bike, the motor back here will get caked with mud. I've had that happen when the mud guard fell off. It looks like there's a bolt missing on part of the mud guard already here. And then what I'll do is I'll stop the video here and I'll show you the battery compartment and how the rest of the stuff folds down. I think that's pretty much everything. You know, it's front brakes, front and rear brake, operated by the handlebars. You know. And I think that's about it for this. So I'll pause here and I'll show you how the seat removes and the handlebars fold down, and then show you the battery compartment where the controller is also in that area as well. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm back. Again, this is the MotoTec Velocifero 1600 watt electric scooter. And what I was going to show you here now is this is how, you know, you fasten the seat at the top on, so you can adjust the height. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. There you go. So you can adjust it to a fairly good height. I had it sit on the lowest setting myself. And then if you want to remove this whole post and the seat, obviously you got the brake light cable that you're going to have to disconnect once you get there. But at the moment, I'm limited on how high I can lift the deck board here, because I put this on for the cart. But if you can see here, let me see if you can see on this side. It's difficult to see. Inside here, you can see where my finger is. Back in there is just a little plastic kind of a screw with a metal insert. And let me pull that off. And this is going to be how you remove the seat. Just take it all the way off so you can see it. So here, and that fastens down onto a bolt. Then there's one on the other side. You can see it in here maybe a little easier. See it? Just got those both removed. So 2 of those guys. And that's what holds the metal part down. And it sits on there fairly tight on the base. So I may have to stop the video again and get it off. I can't get it off with 2 hands, but I'll pull that off and then start the video up again and just kind of show you how it looks like, and then open the battery compartment. Okay, I've removed the seat support post, and I left the seat attached to it. You see here's the cable for the brake light that it runs through here and just connects. So it's simple to remove this. The seat, you can just pull the seat all the way off if you want to take it off. I'm not sure why you would, unless you want to store it in the car, because this pretty much folds up into a smaller form for, you know, moving it and shipping it. Here's where you can change the height of the handlebars just by turning this knob, loosening it, tighten it back up when you got it where you want it. The front down here, and just another one of these mechanisms holds this part on. There's a spring pin here. See if I can do this with one hand without breaking anything. There you go. Whew. So, well, see, you can even do that with one hand. So, and that's about as small as you can fold it, at least as far as I know, unless you start taking everything apart. It will hold 300 pounds. 310 pounds is what the specs, I believe, say on it. I've had it up to around 21 to 23 miles per hour max. That was measuring next to an electric bike, so I wasn't measuring it, with anything on the scooter. It doesn't come with anything to measure miles per hour or anything, but going next to a bike that was moving 23 miles per hour, I was staying right with it. Couldn't go any faster than it was, but that's about as fast as I could go. Put this back up so I can show you the battery compartment. You want to see the batteries? You see these batteries under here? They fit in there very tight. And then the controller that controls, the speed, the throttle, the brake, safety features, that's all up in front behind the black metal lid here that kind of protects it somewhat from water. You can see it's wet here. I wash it off with water from time to time. You get some mud up under stuff, so just to clean it. Then you can see here's where the charge port is. I think that's a typical, connector for some of these chargers. It charges fairly quick. I don't know, I guess 8 hours total if it was empty, but much faster if you don't empty it. Most rides I probably empty the batteries about halfway. And again, I know I mentioned this. Here's the chain drive. The chain, you can see it's got a little give on it right now. It could use a little bit of tightening. So that's basically the first part of this video. We have a lot of fun on it. The kids love it. I have a 4-year-old, a 10-year-old. They ride in the cart all the time, pick them up in school in the cart and drive them home. It's not far, but still pretty fun to do. And so now that's the basic bike. Like I said, I had it a year. So now some of the not so good things. I won't say they're horrible, all of it, but the headlights had to be replaced. One of them stopped working. I couldn't find the exact replacement, so I bought new ones. So these are both new headlights. I like them a lot better, actually. They have a low beam, a high beam, and a flash. I don't know if you can see that in here, but we'll try to hold the camera while I do that. That's the high beam, and then you can't see it, but there's a blue ring around these lights. And it looks pretty cool, night or day actually. And it's actually, you probably can't see this either, but there's a little red that shines on the ground just in front of you too, out of these lights. You can't really see the red looking into the light, but when you look on the ground at night, you can see like a red, kind of highlights part of the path in red immediately in front of the wheel, and then it shines further out for the white light and illuminates the road. And then again, it has these this blue LED ring around the lights. Kind of looks like eyes, blue eyes shining like red out in the middle of it. That's the low beam, which you probably can't see in the day. And then let's see, and then there's a flash, so it kind of flashes. I don't know, for emergency or whatever use. So I like those lights, the new ones, better than the originals. But that was one thing that's changed or had gone wrong with it. Like I said, it was just one light. I ride this through a lot of water, mud, through about everywhere, so I kind of would expect something like that to happen. The other issue I had was This mud flap came off, which isn't, you know, a big deal. I mean, it's probably going to come off over time anyway, but it's extremely difficult to get it on. It's not just hooking here. It came loose down here, and you see, I don't know if I put new bolts in there or not, but I put some type of similar to a Loctite on the nuts and everything, so it's not moving now. I did notice this came out, and that's not a big deal to replace. But if you want to replace this down here, this one and this one, it's extremely difficult to get the bolts in there, you know, and tighten everything up. So again, that's not a huge deal. The chain came loose pretty quickly after the first couple rides. This is where you adjust it here. This is the bolt. You loosen it up and pull the tension on it, tighten it back up. I haven't done it for about 6 months now, so it's doing very good in my opinion. Many times I've been riding it, so that not a big deal either. The shock here, I was riding on some rough terrain through some mud and a lot of trails, narrow trails with roots and bumps and holes and everything, and this guy, there's like a place where it unscrews here. It came unscrewed, and the shock wasn't working during that time. I noticed something was wrong riding it. Didn't know what it was until I had stopped and looked at the scooter to see it was that. But again, not a huge deal. I just screwed it right back on and it started working. The biggest thing that was an issue, and maybe they've fixed this is, you know, like I said, a year old, it was the batteries that came with it. The batteries that came with it were just a tad smaller than this. They fit in here a little bit better. These were a little bit more difficult to get in. So the main issue is, if you don't know how to wire batteries, it may be difficult for some because it doesn't come with instructions on how to do it. And some of the cables in here are probably new. I had built them, I think, because I replaced the batteries. What happened, the batteries that came with it, you know, they worked good for the first couple charges, but I charged it I'll charge it probably over a 2-day period. Left the charger in, I came back out, and it would no longer start. I opened this compartment here, and the 4 batteries were basically fused together. They melted. They didn't completely melt, but they melted enough that the plastic on the outside casing fused together. So obviously that's, for me, was a big deal. I purchased batteries that were better, a little more amp hours in them, and not had an issue since. So they've been fantastic. Not had an issue with the motor, the performance. Like I said, it's a very solid machine. Just be prepared to fork out a little bit of money to buy new batteries. I won't say it was a lot of money. I can't remember the cost of these. In one of my earlier videos, there's a link to the batteries. They're good batteries. They've worked great so far. So that was the major issue. The bag, they come with a bag that's somewhat waterproof too, so it kind of helps repel water. Like I said, I wash this with water every once in a while, so you probably shouldn't do that unless you do have that area protected. I haven't had an issue yet, but it did come with a bag. The bag lasted, it didn't even last getting the stuff installed. The zippers broke on it, it tore. It was really just, honestly, that was a piece of crap. So I haven't used a bag in it. It kind of would be nice to have it, but it's no big deal. You see there's the horn. It's mounted under the seat, and that's where it's hooked up. But like I said, it has a horn, has lights, has brake lights, disc brakes. What else? I think that was a major issue. Other than that, this thing's been great. You do, and you'll probably have this with any product, you have bolts, you know, screws, stuff that just come loose over time. So when you get it, I'd recommend that if you do get one, tighten everything up. Most of them use like a standard Allen wrench head for a lot of the stuff. Nothing complicated to do. So overall, everything's great. I've hit large potholes, tree roots, scraped the bottom, scraped the bottom under here a few times, just going over stuff that was too high, rocks or whatever. Here's the kickstand. It's a nice kickstand, works great. What I don't like about it, it's not doing it now, but usually when you pick it up, it kicks back automatically. So if you're working on it, it's kind of a pain because you put it on the kickstand because you're working on something, and if you move it, that kickstand pops up and then it can fall over pretty easily. So I wish it didn't have that spring. I wish it had or if it had the spring, that it just wouldn't spring up automatically. I wish it was one of those that you just pushed up, like on a lot of bikes, or push down and push up. So that's the only complaint there, but like I said, that's not a big complaint. The only big complaint would be the batteries that just burn out in probably over a weekend. Obviously, other than that, things come loose. The ignition thing came loose here. It just popped out, but again, that wasn't a big deal. I just put a little glue on it and stuck it back in. And that's about it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it helped. That's the overall review. I think I was pretty hard on this thing in a couple other reviews, especially right after those batteries gave out on me. But if they've fixed the battery issue, or if you don't have a problem purchasing new batteries for it, I think you're going to enjoy it. I have a lot of fun and plan to continue having fun with it. Just make sure you keep it maintained so you don't get stuck somewhere, like the chain gets loose or something falls off that you haven't tightened. The brakes are fairly easy to adjust. So overall, happy. Tires are holding out well. And then again, I don't have it on there now, but we hooked this cart to it, and we drag this cart around with the kids in it all over the place. So it's the cart we got at IKEA. I don't remember the price. I gave the wrong price on it last time, but it was a very reasonable price for whatever we paid for it. I remember it was on sale. It's got like standard small bicycle tires on the back. Holds a bed of gear, holds 2 kids easily. Actually, I've had 3 kids in it. My 10-year-old, another 10-year-old from school, and then my little 4-year-old in here at one time, bringing them all home from school. But hopefully this gives you a good idea what it looks like. My overall impression of this device after a year of use. I'm not sure how well you can see it changing light here, but I try to go around them. And you see it again, the seat's over here. Everything folds down to a small piece. It is heavy. It's got a strong metal frame, and obviously the batteries and the electric motor probably doesn't weigh that much, but it is a heavy machine. So I hope you enjoyed it. If anybody out there wants us to review another scooter, electric bike, or so forth, let us know. This will be at 2 Kids in a Pod. And thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.